There is a mystery so profound that once grasped, it will transform the way you approach every dream, every desire, every inner vision. It is this: once you know the secret, keep your mouth shut. We live in a world that rushes to declare, to announce, to boast of intentions before they have taken root. But the truth is that the seed of your desire is most vulnerable when it is new. Speak it prematurely, and the breath of doubt, the wind of another's opinion, may uproot it before it finds its strength. The moment an idea is conceived within you, it is already real. Invisible, yes, but real. Like a child hidden in the womb, it grows best in silence, nourished by the unseen substance of faith. To expose it too early is to place a newborn in the cold, unprepared world where it cannot yet survive. Guard your vision as a sacred treasure. Carry it in the quiet of your mind. Feel it. Live in it. Let it saturate your being until it is as natural to you as the air you breathe. When you know it so deeply that no one's doubt can shake you, then, and only then, will it burst forth into visibility. Understand this: words are not casual things. Every word carries power. To speak a thing is to release it, and once released, it is vulnerable to interference. But when it has already crystallized into fact, no opposition can touch it. So, once you know the secret, keep your mouth shut. Do not seek validation. Do not beg others to agree. The truth does not need agreement to be true. It only needs your silence, your persistence, your faith. And in time, the silence will break on its own, not through your lips, but through the evidence of your life. The world will see, and you will not need to explain. For the secret you carried in silence will have become flesh, and that is the only proof required. The seed of imagination grows in silence. The moment you reveal it too soon, you expose it to winds that scatter it. Think of a seed buried deep in the soil, hidden, unseen, silent, yet alive with potential. It does not cry out for recognition. It does not announce itself to the world. It simply rests, drawing strength, expanding quietly until the day it is strong enough to break through the ground and show its face. Your imagination works in the same way. When you conceive an idea, a vision, or a dream, you have planted a seed in the fertile soil of your mind. It does not need applause, approval, or validation in its earliest stage. It needs silence, stillness, and protection. When you speak of it too quickly, when you expose it to the careless ears of others, you invite forces that may not nurture it. Doubtful voices, skeptical glances, questions laced with fear. These are the winds that scatter the seed before its roots have sunk deep. Most people speak of their dreams not because they are ready, but because they seek assurance from others. They want someone to confirm that it is possible. But the truth is, if you do not yet believe it enough to keep it safe in silence, no amount of agreement will make it real, and every hint of doubt may cause you to abandon it. Silence is not weakness. It is the shield that protects the tender sprout of creation. Imagine a mother carrying her child. In the earliest months, the life is hidden, delicate, and sacred. She does not expose it to the world before its time. She carries it in secret until it grows strong enough to be seen. In the same way, the vision you hold must be guarded as a sacred pregnancy of the soul. The more you dwell on it in silence, the more real it becomes within you. The more you feel it, live in it, and walk with it in your imagination, the more deeply it takes root. Every great creation was once invisible. Every structure, every song, every invention lived first in silence, hidden in the mind of its creator. If they had shared it prematurely, perhaps they would have been laughed at, ridiculed, or persuaded that it could not be done. But those who held their vision close, who nourished it inwardly, allowed it to grow until it was undeniable. That is the secret. Your dream does not need to be spoken. It needs to be embodied. So let the seed remain in the soil of your mind. Tend to it with quiet faith. Do not dig it up by exposing it to the winds of opinion. In due season, when it has gathered enough strength, it will break through on its own. And when it does, no voice, no doubt, and no opposition will be able to scatter it. For what grows in silence emerges unshakable. What you conceal within becomes your reality without. Guard the secret as a womb guards life. The unseen world within you is the true birthplace of everything you will ever encounter in the visible world. Every condition, every circumstance, every relationship begins first as a thought, an image, a feeling in the invisible sanctuary of your imagination. You may believe that the outer world is shaping you, but in truth, it is your inner world that is shaping the outer. Life is not happening to you, it is happening through you. When you hold a vision within and treat it as sacred, you are carrying life itself. Just as the womb protects the unborn child, you must protect your desire until it matures. A womb does not question if the life inside will form correctly. It does not ask the world for reassurance. It simply nurtures, protects, and guards in silence until the time of birth arrives. In the same way, when you conceive an inner picture, do not betray it by exposing it to the doubts and judgments of others. Do not allow fear or impatience to weaken your faith. Instead, keep it concealed in the quietness of your heart, where it grows stronger with every moment of belief. The great mistake people make is to speak of their vision before it has gathered strength. They share it not because it is ready, but because they are not ready to carry it alone. They want others to validate it. Yet the moment you place your dream in the hands of those who cannot see as you see, you risk having it diminished. Others will measure it by their own limitations, and their words may pierce the fragile state of your faith. But when you conceal it within, when you guard it as a womb guards life, no external voice can destroy it, because it has not yet been offered to the world. Understand that the inner realm is the seed ground of reality. Whatever you impress deeply upon your imagination, whatever you nurture in feeling and conviction, must one day emerge as an event, a circumstance, a condition of your life. But just as no gardener exposes the seed to sunlight and air the moment it is planted, so too must you keep the inner seed hidden until it is ready. The soil of silence, watered with feeling, is the place where all miracles are prepared. When the time comes, the dream you carried within will reveal itself without. You will not need to argue for it. You will not need to prove it. Its presence will speak for itself. Just as a child's birth announces that life has been growing all along, your task is not to force it, nor to reveal it prematurely, but to conceal it faithfully, protecting it from every thief of doubt until it is undeniable. What you hold in secret will one day be your visible world. Every spoken word is a release of power. If directed outward before its season, the harvest is lost. Words are not small things. They are not harmless sounds drifting through the air. Words are seeds. each one carrying within it the potential to create, to destroy, to strengthen, or to weaken. The tongue is the tool that shapes reality, and with every word you utter, you set something into motion. That is why you must be watchful. To speak carelessly, to declare your dreams before their time, is to waste the very energy that was meant to nourish them into being. When a farmer sows seed, he does not throw it on barren ground. He prepares the soil, waits for the right season, and plants it with care. He does not scatter precious seed in the open air simply to prove to others that he has it. Likewise, the words you speak must be chosen and released in the right time, in the right soil, for the right purpose. To speak prematurely of your vision is to cast seed on the wind. It may impress those who hear, but it will bear no fruit, for it was not planted where it could grow. Every word carries energy. To reveal your desires too soon is to spend that energy outward, leaving little within you to sustain the feeling of their fulfillment. You will find yourself weakened, drained, and often discouraged when the outer world does not immediately reflect what you have spoken. This is why so many abandon their dreams. They spoke them too soon, released the energy prematurely, and when nothing came of it, they lost faith. They believed the harvest was lost, not realizing it was their own impatience that wasted the seed. There is a season for silence, and there is a season for declaration. Silence strengthens, declaration manifests. But if you declare before your vision has matured within you, the declaration is empty, and the world will mirror that emptiness. When you have lived so fully in the end result, when your inner conviction is unshakable, then your words carry the weight of creation. They are not mere statements, they are decrees. They do not ask the world to agree, they command the world to conform. But until that conviction is born in you, your words are fragile, and the wind of another's opinion can scatter them. Guard your speech. Do not reveal your inner treasure for the sake of approval or attention. Hold your tongue as one would hold a sword, using it with precision and purpose, not flinging it wildly into the air. The power of the spoken word is sacred, but it is sacred only when it is born of faith and maturity. Speak too soon and the harvest is lost. Speak at the appointed time and the harvest is certain. Silence is not weakness. It is creation's shield. In the unseen, your dream is already forming. Too often, people mistake silence for passivity, for inaction, for fear. They think that to remain quiet is to lack confidence or conviction. But silence, when used with understanding, is not a sign of weakness. It is the invisible armor that protects the delicate process of creation. Just as a seed beneath the soil is hidden, silent, and unseen, yet full of life, so too is your dream forming in the unseen. To the casual eye, it may appear as though nothing is happening, but in truth, everything is happening where no one can see. The world we live in celebrates noise. It celebrates announcements, declarations, and the rush to prove something before it has matured. People run to share their plans, their visions, their desires, as if the act of speaking them out loud will somehow make them real. Yet in doing so, they forget that true creation is a process, not a performance. A tree does not rush to show its fruit. It grows in silence, season by season, until the time is right. Its strength lies not in noise, but in patience, in the unseen work of its roots. When you choose silence, you are not retreating, you are building. You are giving your dream space to breathe, to take root, to grow beyond the fragile stage where it can be easily harmed. Think of a sculptor who sees a form in the stone. He does not announce with every strike what the finished figure will be. He works in quiet, hidden away in his workshop, until the form reveals itself. By the time the world sees it, the work is already complete. So it must be with your dream. Protect it behind the shield of silence, where it cannot be damaged by doubt or opposition. Silence creates an atmosphere of power. When you withhold your vision from the outer world, you strengthen it in the inner world. Every time you dwell on it in thought, every time you feel its reality in your imagination, you are feeding it. You are shaping it with unseen hands. And because the unseen is the source of the seen, what you hold silently within must eventually take form without. The shield of silence ensures that no premature exposure can weaken it. Those who confuse silence with weakness do not understand creation. Noise often hides insecurity, while silence reveals certainty. When you are silent about your vision, it is not because you doubt it, but because you know it is already taking form. You need not convince anyone, you need not defend it, you need only to carry it faithfully until the day arrives when silence is broken by manifestation itself. In the unseen, your dream is already forming. Guard it with silence, shield it from interference, and trust the process. For when the time is right, the silence will give way to evidence, and the world will see what you already knew in the quiet of your heart. When you announce your treasure too early, you invite thieves. Protect it until it is undeniable. Every treasure is most vulnerable when it is newly discovered. The miner who finds gold does not rush into the streets to declare it before securing it. He knows that the moment he reveals it, others will come with their hands outstretched, some to take it, others to doubt it, and still others to claim it as their own. The same is true of the treasures of your imagination. When you first conceive a dream, it glitters in your mind like hidden gold. But if you announce it too early, you risk exposing it to forces that can weaken, dilute, or even steal it from you. The thieves of dreams are many. They come in the form of skepticism, the laughter of the unbelieving, the warnings of the fearful, and the advice of the cautious. They may even come from those you love, not out of malice, but out of their own limited vision. When you tell them of your treasure, they may not see its value. They may question you, mock you, or remind you of all the reasons it cannot be done. In that moment, if your faith is still fragile, you may begin to doubt what you once knew with certainty. Your treasure, once shining brightly within, begins to dim under the weight of their voices. This is why protection is essential. Your dream is not meant to be exposed to the world in its infancy. Just as a child is guarded in the womb until it can survive in the outer world, your treasure must remain concealed until it is undeniable. To protect it is not selfishness, it is wisdom. You are not hiding it out of fear, but shielding it out of reverence. A seed kept in the soil is not buried to be forgotten, it is hidden to grow. In silence, your treasure gathers strength. It expands beyond the fragile idea it once was and becomes a living conviction. As you nurture it in your imagination, as you feel it with your whole being, it roots itself so deeply within you that no thief can uproot it. By the time it emerges into visibility, no one can deny it, for it is no longer an idea, it is a fact. At that point, there is nothing to protect, because the treasure is already in your possession, shining for all to see. Patience is the guardian of treasure. Those who rush to announce what they have not yet secured often lose it to the thieves of doubt and discouragement. But those who wait, who protect, who hold their vision in sacred silence, always reveal it in power. For when your treasure is undeniable, no voice can take it, no doubt can diminish it, and no thief can touch it. Protect it until that day, and when you reveal it, it will not need your defense. It will speak for itself. The wise one knows. Manifestation requires secrecy, then evidence. Speak only when your world already reflects it. Wisdom understands timing. It understands that creation is not a spectacle to be shared midway, but a mystery to be fulfilled in silence. The unwise rush to speak of what they are planning, of what they are hoping, of what they are imagining, believing that words alone will impress the world. But the wise one does not seek to impress. The wise one seeks to manifest. And manifestation always begins in secrecy and only later reveals itself in undeniable evidence. Secrecy is not hiding out of fear. It is gestation. When the seed of a vision is planted in the fertile ground of imagination, it requires time, protection, and quiet nurture. The wise one does not dig up the seed to prove that it exists. He knows that the roots are forming unseen, that life is stirring in the dark, and that in the proper season the growth will make itself known. To speak of it prematurely would be to disturb the process, to expose what is still tender to the harshness of doubt. The wise one shields his dream until it is ready to stand on its own. And then comes the evidence. Not words, not explanations, not arguments, but evidence. When the invisible has become visible, when the inner picture has solidified into outer fact, the wise one does not need to persuade. The world sees for itself. Just as the tree needs no announcement that it has borne fruit, the evidence is self-sufficient. The fruit speaks of the roots, the result speaks of the process, and the manifestation speaks of the secrecy that birthed it. To speak before evidence is to place yourself in the position of a beggar, asking others to believe in what they cannot yet see. To speak after evidence is to stand as a witness, showing what has already been accomplished. One weakens your dream, the other confirms it. The wise know the difference. They speak only when their world already reflects the truth they carried in silence. Consider the masters of creation throughout history. They did not announce every detail of their visions before they were complete. They worked in secrecy. They trusted the process. And only when their work was ready did they present it to the world. At that point, no argument was needed. The evidence was undeniable. This is the way of wisdom. The foolish boast of what they will do. The wise reveal what they have already done. So guard your vision in silence until it matures into reality. Do not squander your strength by trying to convince others of what you know within. Let them see it when it arrives, not hear of it when it is still fragile. Manifestation requires secrecy, then evidence. Follow this order and your life will speak louder than your words ever could. Every dream begins as a secret. Every vision is first a whisper in the silence of your own heart. To reveal it too soon is to risk its life, but to guard it in stillness is to ensure its birth. What you carry within will one day stand before you, undeniable and unshakable. So do not rush. Do not seek the approval of others. Let silence be your shield, patience your strength, and faith your companion. For when the time is right, your world will reflect what you once held in secret, and that evidence will speak louder than any words ever could. Thank you for listening, and may your silence become the womb of every great manifestation in your life. unshakable. Even if the world seems to contradict you, even if external challenges appear formidable, your inner triumph remains untouched because it exists independently of appearances. It is self-sufficient, unchanging, and eternal. To live in this way, you must train yourself to see the end first, to embrace the feeling of having already won, and to dwell in it as a present reality. Your imagination is the seed, and feeling is the water that nourishes it. The more vividly and sincerely you dwell in the consciousness of victory, the more inevitable its manifestation becomes. The world cannot resist what you have already accepted as true. Outer achievements are simply the confirmation of an inner reality that has long been established. When you fully embrace this principle, you understand that all struggle, effort, and striving are unnecessary. They are the result of living in the world of appearances rather than in the world of imagination where true power resides. Victory exists within first, and once it has taken root in your consciousness, it is only a matter of time before the outer world bends to reflect it, proving to you and to all that your triumph was never a distant hope. It was always your reality. To live in the end is to dwell in the reality of your fulfilled desire as if it has already happened. Most people live at the edge of their dreams, perpetually anticipating what might be, constantly measuring themselves against a future that seems distant and uncertain. They focus on steps, plans, and procedures, believing that success is something to be chased or earned. But this approach keeps them in a state of longing, forever dependent on circumstances to dictate their reality. True mastery begins when you shift your consciousness and act, speak, and think from the end, from the completed picture of your desire. Living in the end requires imagination PA, fired with feeling. It is not enough to visualize the outcome superficially. You must immerse yourself in the experience, as if it is your present reality. Hear the sounds, sense the atmosphere, feel the emotions of having achieved what you seek. Let the satisfaction, joy, and relief of accomplishment fill every fiber of your being. When you dwell in this state, your consciousness carries a magnetic certainty that the outer world cannot deny. You are no longer waiting for life to deliver. Life becomes a reflection of what you have already claimed. Every word you speak, every action you take, and every thought you entertain should be aligned with the reality of your end. Speak with authority as though your victory is undeniable. Move through your days as someone who already inhabits the life they desire. Do not concern yourself with the how or the timeline. These are the details that the universe will arrange once your inner reality is fixed. The power lies in assuming the state of fulfillment first. Once this is done, the outer world is compelled to conform. The universe responds to the frequency of your consciousness, bending circumstances, events, and people to mirror what you have already accepted as true. Living in the end also dissolves resistance. When you no longer rely on external validation or evidence, doubt cannot find a foothold. The world may present challenges or temporary contradictions, but these cannot alter the reality that has been firmly established within you. Your inner assumption acts as an anchor, steady and immovable, while the outer world rearranges itself to validate it. To embody this principle is to awaken to a profound truth. The world is not the creator of your destiny. You are. When you live in the end, you inhabit a reality of your own making, and the outer world must inevitably prove what you have already known in the depths of your consciousness. Your victory is no longer a distant goal, it is your living present, awaiting only your continued assumption to manifest in every corner of your life. The world you see around you is not your master, it is merely a reflection of past assumptions and temporary conditions. Outer appearances are fleeting, changeable, and often misleading. Yet so many people allow their present environment to dictate their sense of possibility, their belief in themselves, and their expectation of what is achievable. They measure their worth by what the world shows them, by what is visible, tangible, or apparently real. But true power lies in refusing to be influenced by external circumstances, for they have no authority over the reality that you have already assumed within your imagination. To ignore circumstances is not to deny reality. It is tea. Or recognize that appearances are transient and that your consciousness is permanent. You may face lack, delay, opposition, or confusion in the outer world, yet none of these conditions can nullify the victory already secured in your mind and heart. Your present environment is like a stage set for a play. It may seem convincing, but it cannot alter the script that has been written within you. The moment you anchor yourself in the certainty of what is already yours, the outer world begins to rearrange itself to match your inner truth. This principle requires a shift in focus. Instead of observing the world and reacting to its contradictions, you turn inward and dwell in the reality of your fulfilled desire. Let your attention rest on the end result, the state of completion, and the feeling of having already achieved your goal. Do not argue with appearances. Do not attempt to force events to match your desire, and do not measure yourself against temporary setbacks. Every delay, every obstacle, and every seeming contradiction is simply the echo of a world yet to align with your assumption. When you ignore current circumstances, you are no longer a servant of the outer world. You reclaim your sovereignty over your own experience. Your certainty becomes magnetic, and the world, unable to resist, gradually conforms. Opportunities, resources, and validations appear effortlessly because they are drawn to the reality you have established within. Circumstances may seem contrary for a time, but they are powerless against an imagination fully engaged in the truth of its victory. The lesson is clear: the outer world is never the measure of your success. What is established in your mind and felt in your heart is the only reality that matters. By ignoring temporary appearances and remaining steadfast in the assumption of your desired outcome, you not only maintain your inner peak, but you also set the stage for the world to prove your triumph. The proof comes naturally, effortlessly, and inevitably, because what is imagined and assumed in consciousness cannot be denied by the outer world. The mind alone is not enough to shape reality. It is the feeling behind thought that acts as the bridge between imagination and manifestation. You can visualize, plan, and strategize endlessly, yet until you truly feel the reality you desire, it remains distant and unreal. Feeling is the language of creation. It is the vibration that awakens your inner assumption and carries it into the physical world. The emotion of accomplishment, gratitude, and certainty is not just an accessory to imagination. It is the very engine that transforms the unseen into the seen. When you feel your victory before it appears, you are no longer hoping or wishing for it, you are living it. The world outside has no choice but to reflect what your consciousness already embraces. Feeling gives imagination substance, turning mental images into lived experiences. A thought without feeling is like a seed without soil. It cannot grow. But when you immerse yourself fully in the emotion of having already achieved your desire, the unseen becomes inevitable. Gratitude, in particular, is a powerful form of feeling. To feel gratitude for what you have not yet received may seem paradoxical, yet it is this very act that signals to the universe that your triumph is already complete and secure. Accomplishment carries a distinct energy that transforms your state of being. When you feel the satisfaction of having won, your inner world aligns with the reality you wish to manifest. Certainty removes doubt and hesitation, leaving only the pure, unwavering belief that what you have imagined is already yours. This feeling does not wait for confirmation from the outside, it exists independently, unshaken by appearances or temporary circumstances. The outer world cannot deny a feeling that has fully taken hold within. Many struggle because they rely solely on visualization or mental repetition. They think that seeing is enough, yet the unseen is only drawn into experience when the feeling of reality is present. Thought directs, but feeling accelerates. Thought may outline the path, but feeling is what energizes it, infusing it with life and compelling the world to conform. Without feeling, imagination remains a hollow exercise and desires linger unfulfilled. To master creation, one must learn to dwell not merely in ideas, but in the emotional truth of those ideas. Let the feeling of victory, of fulfillment, of gratitude saturate your being. Allow it to shape your words, actions, and presence. When this happens, you do not chase reality, it chases you. The unseen becomes seen because you have already lived it inwardly, and the outer world is powerless to resist the compelling force of your fully felt imagination. Time, as most perceive it, is a relentless master, dictating when events must unfold and how long it will take for desires to materialize. Yet this is a misconception. Time is not a ruler of manifestation, it is a mirror that reflects the state of consciousness. When your inner reality is firmly established, when your assumption of victory is complete and unshakable, time ceases to be an obstacle, and external events naturally arrange themselves to validate what has already been imagined. Waiting and struggle are illusions born of uncertainty. They only exist when your inner world is in doubt or divided. The key is to realize that your inner assumption precedes the outer result. Once the inner state is settled, the world has no choice but to conform. There is no need to push, chase, or manipulate circumstances. Effort is only required when there is resistance within. When your consciousness fully embraces the reality of your desire, everything in the external world flows toward it as naturally as water flows to its level. The universe becomes an obedient servant, orchestrating events, people, and opportunities in perfect harmony with your inner certainty. Many struggle with impatience, believing that they must control the timing of manifestation. They count days, hours, and months, fretting over when their success will appear. This is a sign that the assumption has not yet taken full hold. True mastery involves surrender, not surrender in action, but surrender in trust. Trust that the world cannot contradict what you have already assumed as true. Your inner reality is like a stone dropped into a pond. Its impact cannot be denied, and the ripples will inevitably reach the surface, revealing the manifestation in its appointed moment. When you understand that time conforms to assumption, you release the tension and anxiety that accompany longing. You no longer measure progress by external markers or fleeting circumstances. Instead, you anchor yourself in the feeling of completion, knowing that every visible sign will eventually align with what has long been settled in consciousness. There is no rush, no struggle, no artificial acceleration required. The timing of the world is secondary. What matters is the state of your inner reality. The world cannot contradict your assumption. Once you have firmly assumed the end, time becomes your ally, not your enemy. Events, opportunities, and confirmations will appear naturally, perfectly sequenced, and effortlessly. Your inner reality dictates the rhythm of manifestation, and external circumstances follow in quiet obedience. In this understanding, patience is not passive, It is an active faith in the power of consciousness, knowing that once the inner is complete, the outer must inevitably reflect it. Once you have fully claimed your victory internally, the next step is not to chase, struggle, or force the world to conform to your desire. Your task is complete the moment your consciousness embraces the reality of your triumph. The outer world is merely a mirror, and when the reflection is delayed, it is not a sign of failure. It is simply the world adjusting to the certainty you've already established within. The moment you release the need to control outcomes, you allow reality to catch up with the truth of your inner assumption. The universe is responsive, but it responds according to the state of your consciousness, not your efforts. Many people believe that action or manipulation is required to make their dreams real, yet all external arrangements flow naturally from the inner state. Once your mind and heart have fully embodied the feeling of completion, the universe begins to orchestrate circumstances, people, and events to validate your assumption. There is no need to push or convince. The proof will appear effortlessly. Your inner reality is the seed, and the world is simply the harvest. Allowing the world to respond requires trust and patience. It demands that you step back from anxiety, doubt, and the compulsion to force outcomes. Resistance is only born from a mind that questions whether the inner reality is sufficient. When you act from the certainty that your victory is already yours, you create an energetic harmony that draws external confirmations naturally. Doors open, opportunities arise, and people align with your assumed state, all without your interference. This is the power of allowing, the power of letting reality reflect what is already true within. It is essential to understand that forcing outcomes is counterproductive. The world cannot manifest a reality you have not first assumed, and it cannot manifest one that is imposed through effort or desperation. The outer world obeys the inner law of consciousness. Once your inner victory is established, your only responsibility is to maintain the assumption and let events unfold naturally. The universe will rearrange itself in perfect timing, bringing proof that cannot be denied. By allowing the world to respond, you embody the true essence of mastery. You demonstrate unwavering faith in your inner reality, and you release the illusion that external conditions dictate your success. The world is compelled to mirror the truth of your consciousness. Every sign, every circumstance, and every confirmation will align to validate the victory you have already claimed. The unseen has been secured. Now the seen simply catches up. By letting go, by trusting the process, you allow the universe to demonstrate to you and everyone else that your triumph was never in question. It was always a reality waiting to be revealed. And so, we arrive at the truth of your journey. You have already won. All that remains is for the world to reflect what has been firmly established within you. Your inner reality, your assumption of victory, your feeling of completion, they are the seeds from which every outer manifestation must grow. Do not chase, do not doubt, do not argue with appearances. Stand in the certainty of your triumph, live in the end, feel the reality, and trust that time and circumstances will bend effortlessly to confirm what you already know to be true. The universe is not your enemy, it is your servant responding faithfully to the conviction you hold. Let it prove your victory without resistance, without forcing, without hurry. Your role is complete. You have imagined, assumed, and felt the end. Now allow the world to demonstrate what your consciousness has already claimed. Every opportunity, every confirmation, every validation will appear naturally, aligning with the truth that you have long embraced. The power has always been within you. The outer world is merely a reflection. and it cannot contradict the reality you have established in your mind and heart. Stand firm, live fully in the end, and rejoice in the certainty that all things have already been set into motion to prove your triumph. Thank you. My friends, I say to you, detach, let go, and focus on your own path. For the one who clings is the one who delays. The moment you hold too tightly to what you desire, you confess you do not truly believe it is already yours. Detachment is not neglect. It is the quiet confidence that what you have seen within will manifest without in its perfect hour. When you let go, you open the way. You are no longer pushing against the current. You are allowing the invisible stream of life to carry you exactly where you must go. The door you thought was closed will swing open once you stop trying to force it. The greatest mistake is comparison. To look at another's journey and measure your own by their progress is to forget that every seed blooms in its appointed season. What belongs to another cannot fulfill you, for you have your own garden to tend. Focus instead on your vision. What picture lives in the secret chambers of your mind? What feeling fills your heart when you imagine yourself already living the life you long for? That is the key. Persist in that inner knowing, and the outer world must conform. Faith is rest. When you believe, you do not wrestle with doubt. You do not beg or chase. You recline within, knowing that what you have asked has already been granted. Let your heart be still, and in that stillness, the answer rises. Walk your path with confidence. Though others may not understand it, though circumstances may appear contrary, remain faithful to your inner vision. For life will bend, reality will yield, and the unseen will become seen. All because you detached, let go, and walked faithfully in the direction of your own path. Detachment is power because it is the recognition that all things flow most freely when we are not clutching them with desperation. The one who clings too tightly to outcomes announces silently that he does not yet trust the unseen order of life. He believes he must hold on or else lose what he desires, yet the truth is the opposite. Only in releasing, in loosening the grip, do things come nearer. Allah, when you cease to chase, the very thing you longed for turns and moves toward you, for it is no longer repelled by your anxiety, but drawn to your calm assurance. To detach is not to abandon, it is not indifference, nor is it neglect. Detachment is the quiet knowing that what is yours cannot be taken, and what is not meant for you will fall away without harm. Imagine the seed planted in the soil. If you dig it up each morning to see whether it has sprouted, you kill its life before it can emerge. But if you plant it, water it, and trust that the unseen process is working, in time the harvest will be sure. So it is with every desire you hold in your heart. The moment you release the anxiety of control, the invisible process begins to unfold in ways you cannot see. The one who lives in detachment walks through life in quiet confidence. He does not beg for love. He does not strain for wealth. He does not worry about tomorrow. He knows that life is a mirror reflecting his inner state, and so he polishes the mirror of his mind rather than chasing shadows in the world outside. If within he feels whole, the world reflects wholeness. If within he feels abundant, the world mirrors abundance. To detach is to rest in that truth without needing to force appearances. Clinging springs from fear. and fear is the confession of disbelief. You may say you believe, but if you cannot release your desire, then deep within you doubt it will come. Detachment is the sign of true faith. When you believe that the unseen is already accomplished, you have no need to wrestle or struggle. You do not worry about the how or the when. When you simply carry within the quiet assurance that it is finished, and because you live in that state, the outer world must, in its time, reflect it. Power lies not in struggle, but in surrender. Life bends to the one who releases his grasp and allows it to unfold. Think of the river. Try to dam it with your hands, and it overpowers you. Flow with it, and it carries you effortlessly to your destination. So it is with desire. When you release it into the unseen, when you detach from the outcome, you step into the current of life itself. And that current is always moving, always working for you, always bringing what belongs to you into manifestation. Detachment, then, is not weakness, it is mastery. It is the silent strength of one who trusts the unseen more than appearances, and because he does, life flows toward him without resistance. Letting go opens the way, because when you release your grip on fear and doubt, you stop resisting the very forces that are working to bring your desire into form. Most people live as though they must hold on tightly, as though control is the key to creation. Yet the truth is, control born of fear blocks the natural flow. The universe, or the unseen intelligence that governs all things, does not respond to panic or desperation. It responds to the calm certainty of one who has already accepted the end as fulfilled. When you loosen your hold on worry, when you let go of the frantic need to manage every step, you allow that unseen hand to arrange circumstances beyond what your limited mind could ever orchestrate. Fear and doubt are chains that keep you tied to the same old patterns. The more you feed them, the more tangled you become in your own web of resistance. But the moment you let go, you cut the cords. You step out of the prison you built with your anxious thoughts and enter the wide, open field where new possibilities can reach you. Letting go does not mean giving up on what you desire. It means refusing to poison it with suspicion, impatience, and disbelief. It means planting your intention firmly within, then releasing it with trust, knowing the invisible forces are already at work to bring it to pass. Consider how often you have worried over something, only to realize later that the solution came the moment you stopped obsessing about it. You wrestled with it in your mind, turned it over endlessly, tried to force the outcome, and nothing moved. Then one day you were too tired to fight. You let it rest, and suddenly, as if by miracle, the answer arrived. The door opened, the way was cleared. That was not chance, it was the fruit of letting go. The unseen hand cannot move while you are trying to control its every motion. But the moment you release, it moves with precision, swiftness, and wisdom greater than your own. Letting go is an act of faith. It is the declaration that you no longer bow to fear's whispers, nor do you submit to the tyranny of doubt. It is standing firm in the unseen reality of what you have already accepted in imagination. The outer world may mock you. Circumstances may appear unchanged, but when you let go, you are saying, I trust the unseen more than what my eyes show me. And it is that trust which compels the outer to shift and conform. When you let go, life begins to work for you rather than against you. Doors that seemed locked swing open, people appear at the right time, opportunities align themselves with no effort on your part. This is not accident, it is the natural order when you release resistance. Letting go opens the way because you step aside and allow the greater hand to move where your small hand cannot reach. In that release, in that quiet surrender, the way is made clear. Focus on inner vision, for your path is not discovered in the noise of the outer world, but in the quiet sanctuary of your imagination. So many look outward, chasing signs, waiting for circumstances to show them the way. But the outer is only a mirror. If the mirror looks distorted, it is because the image within has not been made clear. The true direction of your life lies in the pictures you hold and the emotions you cultivate in silence. The inner world is the blueprint, the outer world is the reflection. To search for guidance outside of yourself while neglecting your inner vision is like trying to change your reflection in the glass without ever altering your own face. When you focus on inner vision, you step into the creative center of life. Within your mind lives infinite possibility, and the moment you choose one image with conviction, you set in motion the forces that shape reality. This is not daydreaming without purpose, but deliberate inner seeing. It is closing your eyes to the chaos of appearances and opening them inward to the world you truly wish to live in. The picture you hold becomes the seed, and the feeling you nurture waters that seed until it grows into visible form. Consider how often you allow the outer world to dictate your feelings. If circumstances appear bleak, you feel defeated. If doors close, you sink into despair. Yet this is a reversal of the true order. Circumstances are not the cause, they are the effect. If you wish to walk a new path, you must begin not with the outer road, but with the inner vision. What is the image of yourself that you carry? Do you see yourself as abundant, loved, secure, fulfilled? Or do you rehearse failure, rejection, and lack within your imagination? Life cannot give you what you deny yourself in thought and feeling. The secret is persistence. The inner vision must be held firmly regardless of appearances. It is easy to imagine wealth when money flows, easy to imagine love when affection surrounds you. But the true test of mastery is to hold the inner picture when the outer contradicts it. To stand in faith while the senses mock you is to plant your feet on solid ground. For in time, the outer must yield to the inner. Reality bends to the vision that is sustained with conviction and feeling. Your path is not found outside. No teacher, no circumstance, no accident of fate can show you the way if you do not first see it within. You are the author of your journey, and the script is written in the theater of your imagination. Nurture the feelings of your desired state as though they were already true. See yourself there, walk as though it is so, and feel the joy of its fulfillment now. This inner focus is not fantasy, it is the seed of reality itself. When you focus on inner vision, life has no choice but to align itself with the image you hold and the feelings you nurture. Comparison destroys destiny, because the moment you measure your life against another, you step away from the unique path that was given only to you. No two souls have the same assignment, no two journeys carry the same lessons, yet how often do we rob ourselves of peace by looking to the left and right, weighing our progress against the progress of others? This habit blinds us to the richness of our own road. It breeds envy, impatience, and doubt, and in doing so, it weakens the very faith required to bring our vision to life. The truth is simple. Their road is not yours, and to imitate or envy them is to abandon your own inheritance. The world has trained us to compare. From childhood, we are ranked, measured, placed in competition, told who is ahead and who is behind. This conditioning continues into adulthood, where wealth, success, beauty, and influence are all paraded before us as standards by which we should measure ourselves. But what if your purpose is not to be where another stands? What if your unfolding is timed differently, carrying depths that their journey never required? To compare is to deny the perfection of your own season. Every seed blooms in its time, and to measure one flower against another is to forget that the rose does not envy the lily, and the oak does not wish to be the cedar. When you compare, you weaken your own imagination. Instead of holding firmly to your vision, you begin to alter it to match the lives of others. You say, perhaps I should want what they have, or I must be failing because I do not see what they see. This splits your focus and dilutes your power. The inner vision, once clear, becomes clouded with doubt, and the outer world reflects the confusion within. But when you honor your own path, you walk in strength. You do not need to imitate another because you know that what belongs to you will come in its own perfect way. Comparison also robs you of gratitude. While you look at what another has, you overlook the blessings already present in your life. Gratitude is fuel for creation, for it magnifies what you have and multiplies it. But comparison blinds you, making you ungrateful, restless, and blind to your own progress. How many have failed to see the miracle in their own life simply because they were too busy envying the miracles of others? To break free from comparison is to step into freedom. It is to recognize that you are a unique expression of life, carrying gifts, experiences, and lessons that no one else can replicate. When you stop measuring your journey by others, you begin to hear the quiet guidance within. You realize that your timing is not late, your road is not wrong, and your vision is not small. It is yours, and that alone makes it sacred. The moment you release comparison, you reclaim your destiny. You stand firm in your own lane, trusting that every step, no matter how small, is leading you to the fulfillment designed only for you. Their road is not yours. Walk yours with confidence, and destiny will unfold exactly as it should. Faith is rest, for true belief does not demand struggle, nor does it wrestle with doubt. It does not beg or plead for proof, nor does it exhaust itself in effort to make things happen. Faith is the quiet confidence that what has been seen within is already accomplished, though the outer world has yet to reflect it. To rest in faith is to stand in the assurance that the unseen is more real than appearances, and that what you have accepted in imagination is already yours. Strain reveals doubt, but rest reveals belief. When you truly believe, you do not keep checking the outer world for signs. You do not ask, when will it come? How will it arrive? For such questions betray a hidden disbelief. Faith settles down, knowing it is already finished. Imagine a person who places an order in a trusted store. Once the order is made, he does not stand at the counter anxiously asking every moment if it has been prepared. He walks away in confidence, knowing the process is underway. So it is with faith. Once the desire is planted in the mind and accepted with feeling, you rest, knowing it is being arranged in ways you cannot see. The restless mind thinks it must make everything happen by force. It worries, schemes, and calculates. believing that if it does not strive, nothing will move. Yet the truth is that rest is the highest form of action, for it places the burden on the unseen power that governs all things. Faith is not laziness, it is alignment. It is releasing the heavy burden of control and walking with a light step, knowing that life is already bending to your inner conviction. Faith is rest because it trusts the timing. Impatience is the cry of disbelief. Why is it not here yet? But faith knows that everything unfolds in perfect season. Just as a farmer plants a seed and does not expect a tree overnight, so too does the one who believes understand that the process is sure, even if invisible for a time. There is no strain, no panic, no fear, only trust that the unseen order is at work. This rest is not passive but active in the realm of imagination. You rest outwardly, but inwardly you dwell in the state of fulfillment. You feel the joy of it as though it were already done. You walk as if the promise has already been kept. This inner relaxation is not weakness. It is the strongest declaration of belief. For the one who can rest in conviction has already won. Faith is rest because it allows you to live in peace before the manifestation arrives. You do not wait in tension, but in joy. You do not worry about the process, but live as though the end is already secured. And when you live in such rest, the outer world must eventually mirror it, bringing into view the reality you accepted within. True faith is rest, and in that rest you will see the fulfillment of all that you have believed. Walk your path with confidence, for life itself bends to the direction of your inner conviction. The world does not move for the hesitant, nor does it open its doors to the doubtful. It yields to the one who knows where he is going within, even when the outer road appears unclear. Confidence is not arrogance, it is quiet certainty. It is the steady knowing that the vision you carry inside is real, and that no circumstance, no opinion, no obstacle has the power to deny it. When you walk in this spirit, life arranges itself to meet you, and reality takes shape around the conviction you hold. Many falter because they are swayed by the noise of others. They share their vision only to be met with ridicule, and so they abandon it. They look at temporary setbacks and conclude their dream is impossible. Yet the truth is that the path was never meant to be confirmed by others. It was meant to be confirmed by the unwavering persistence of your own faith. If you do not stay faithful to your vision, no one else can do it for you. You cannot deprive yourself of your vision. No one else can do it for you. Your conviction is the compass, and without it, you wander aimlessly. But with it, every step you take, no matter how small, is a stride toward fulfillment. Confidence is the language life understands. When you walk as though you already are the person you long to be, when you carry yourself as though the dream is already fulfilled, the outer world begins to echo that state. People respond differently. Doors open in unexpected ways, and opportunities arise as if summoned by your inner assurance. The timid wait for proof before believing, but the confident know that belief itself is the proof. To walk with confidence is to live as though the unseen is already visible. Obstacles will appear, as they do for everyone, but the confident are not shaken. They know that every challenge is but a test of persistence, an opportunity to strengthen conviction. Instead of shrinking back, they press forward not by force, but by the quiet persistence of faith. For confidence is not about pushing harder, it is about refusing to abandon the inner picture, no matter what unfolds outside. When you stay faithful to your vision, life must eventually conform. The world has no choice but to mirror the state you consistently hold within. Your path may not look like another's, and it is not supposed to. You were given a unique vision, and with it the power to bring it forth. Do not dilute it by seeking approval, nor weaken it by entertaining doubt. Stand firm, see it clearly, walk with confidence, and reality will adjust itself around you. Life bends not to hesitation, but to conviction. Stay faithful to your vision. Hold it as sacred. Nurture it with feeling and walk each day as though it is already yours. In time, the outer world will bow to the inner truth, and you will find yourself living the very reality you once carried only in imagination. Confidence in your path is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, and when you walk it faithfully, life cannot help but yield to you. My friends, the journey of life is not about clinging, comparing, or doubting. It is about detaching, letting go, and walking in quiet faith. When you release fear, when you stop measuring your path by another's, when you hold firm to your inner vision and walk with confidence, life bends to you. Rest in belief, for true faith does not struggle. It trusts, it relaxes, it knows the unseen is already done. Your destiny is not waiting for permission from the world. It is waiting for conviction within you. Step into that conviction, and the world outside must obey the direction of your inner state. Detach, let go, and focus only on your own path, for it is sacred, it is yours, and it is already leading you to fulfillment. Thank you, my friends, for listening, for opening your hearts, and for walking this path of inner discovery with me. May you carry these truths with you and live them daily. Blessings to you all. Every moment of the day, you are in conversation with yourself. The question is not whether you talk to yourself, but how. These inner conversations are the architects of your reality. They are the silent builders, shaping every event, every circumstance, every meeting you call coincidence. If you desire to manifest anything, you must learn to talk to yourself as though the very thing you long for is already yours. When you speak inwardly, never speak as the one who is hoping, longing, or waiting. Speak as the one who already possesses. Instead of saying, "One day I will have it," you declare, "It is mine now." Instead of confessing, "I am trying," you affirm, "I am already living it." For the unseen is listening, and your words are the molds in which life must pour itself. To talk to yourself in the right way is to rehearse the end of your desire until it feels natural. If you want abundance, do not speak as the poor asking for more, but as the rich who already has. If you want love, do not cry as the lonely, but whisper as the beloved who is cherished. This is not pretending, this is creating. You are impressing upon your inner self the vision of what must appear outwardly. Guard carefully what you say within. Never indulge in complaints, for they return multiplied. Never repeat fears, for they sculpt your tomorrow in their image. Instead, turn every inner word into a decree of fulfillment. Tell yourself, "I am already there. I am already living it. I am already free." Let this inner talk become your constant companion, day and night. And here is the mystery. You need not strain, you need not struggle, you only need to persist. Speak the end with such conviction that your mind accepts it as fact. Once accepted, your world must shift to reflect it, for the outer cannot resist the inner command. So when you rise in the morning and when you rest at night, ask yourself, What am I telling myself right now? For in that moment, you are setting the stage for the days to come. Talk to yourself like the person who already has what you desire, and life will not delay in delivering it. The words you whisper inwardly are seeds planted in the subconscious soil. Speak as if it is already done. Within you lies a field more fertile than any earth you have ever touched. Every word you speak to yourself, every thought you repeat silently, is a seed dropped into that unseen ground. Just as a farmer does not doubt that the seed will take root and grow when planted, so must you have the same unwavering faith in the words you inwardly affirm. They are not idle sounds echoing in the mind. They are living forces, shaping and reshaping the invisible foundation of your reality. The subconscious is impartial. It does not question whether the seed planted is beneficial or harmful. It simply accepts it and brings it to life. If you sow words of doubt, lack, or fear, you will reap experiences that echo those same vibrations. If you plant words of fulfillment, abundance, love, and strength, your life will yield the harvest of those declarations. This is why it is vital to speak as if it is already done. You are not describing the soil, you are commanding it to produce. When you whisper to yourself, "I am successful," though outer circumstances may deny it, you are planting the seed of success. When you affirm, "I am loved," even if loneliness surrounds you, you are planting the seed of love. The subconscious does not know time as the conscious mind does. To it, the moment you say it is the moment it becomes real. The outer world only reflects the inner crop that has matured. Therefore, to speak as if it is already done is to step into the creative act, knowing that unseen forces are aligning to bring your declaration into visible form. Many speak to themselves as beggars, pleading for what they want, reinforcing lack rather than fulfillment. Yet the true secret is to speak like the master who already possesses the treasure. Imagine a man planting a seed and then returning to the soil every hour, digging it up to see if it has grown. Would the seed survive such constant disturbance? No. He plants it and trusts the unseen process beneath the ground. So must you with your words. Plant them once with faith, water them with repetition, and then allow the unseen to bring them forth in their season. There is no limit to what you may plant within yourself. If you desire freedom, whisper it into being. If you desire healing, declare it in the quiet chambers of your heart. If you desire peace, affirm it until the atmosphere of your mind changes. Speak not from the place of want, but from the place of having. Say, "It is mine. I am living it. I am experiencing it now." This is the language that impresses the subconscious deeply, for it accepts assumption as fact. Every harvest you see in your life today is the result of seeds once whispered. If you wish to change the harvest, change the seeds. Speak as if it is already done. For in truth, the act of speaking inwardly is the act of creation itself. Do not describe life as it is. Affirm life as you desire it to be. The great error most people make is to look at the present state of things and give it power by constant description. They say, "This is my condition, this is my problem, this is my lack," and in doing so, they bind themselves to that very reality. To describe life as it is may feel honest, but it is not creative. Creation begins when you rise above appearances and declare life as you wish it to be. When you affirm life as you desire it, you are no longer the prisoner of facts, but the master of vision. Facts are nothing more than shadows of past assumptions, echoes of words you once accepted as true. They carry no life of their own. They only linger because you continue to feed them with attention. To break free, you must turn your words away from what is and toward what is desired. The moment you begin to speak differently, you loosen the grip of the present and open the door to the future you long for. To affirm is not to lie, it is to plant the seed of truth not yet visible. A farmer who sows corn does not see the corn immediately, yet he calls the seed corn, not dirt. In the same way, when you affirm abundance while facing lack, you are not lying, you are naming the seed for what it truly is, even before the harvest shows itself. Your affirmation is the claim of the unseen reality which must eventually appear in form. The world will tempt you to speak of conditions as they are. It will present bills, disappointments, failures, and delays, asking you to declare them loudly. But if you desire to manifest differently, you must resist this temptation. You must speak not of the lack of money, but of the overflowing supply. You must speak not of loneliness, but of being deeply cherished. You must speak not of fear, but of security and strength. Every time you affirm the desired state, instead of describing the present one, you weaken the hold of what is and strengthen the pull of what shall be. Consider how many live bound by their words. They say, "Nothing ever works out for me. I am always unlucky. I never have enough." These declarations are not idle. They are laws they have set upon themselves. Life cannot contradict the inner command. But imagine if they reversed their words, saying instead, "Things always work in my favor. Opportunities find me easily. I live in abundance." In time, the world would shift to reflect those affirmations, for what you speak inwardly becomes what you experience outwardly. So train yourself daily. Refuse to repeat the story of what is. Refuse to give voice to facts that do not serve you. Instead, affirm boldly the life you desire. Let your inner speech become a constant rehearsal of the future you wish to live. Affirm health, wealth, love, and peace until your subconscious accepts them as natural. And once accepted, life will mold itself to match your declarations. You are not here to echo the present. You are here to command the future. Do not describe life as it is. Affirm life as you desire it to be, and watch as the world bends to your inner decree. The inner dialogue is a script that the outer world must follow. Every conversation you carry on in the secret chambers of your mind is not without consequence. It is not mere imagination or idle chatter. It is the writing of a script. And the world around you is the stage upon which that script must be acted out. Just as an actor performs the lines written in a play, so too does your reality perform the lines whispered within you. What you repeat inwardly is rehearsed until it becomes the performance of your outer life. Most people do not realize they are both the author and the actor. They assume the outer world dictates what they should think and say inwardly. They see circumstances and then repeat them to themselves, saying, "This is how it is, this is my life, this is my problem." Without knowing it, they are rehearsing a script that guarantees a repeat performance. The same troubles, the same disappointments, the same cycles appear because the inner dialogue has not changed. But the moment you alter the script within, the play without must follow suit. If, instead of rehearsing failure, you begin rehearsing success, the stage will rearrange itself to match the new lines. If, instead of whispering loneliness, you begin to script conversations of love, The world will provide characters who will echo that love. It is law. The inner dialogue is the script, and the outer world has no choice but to act it out. Consider how often you speak to yourself in ways you would never allow another to speak to you. You say, I am not enough. I can't do it. Nothing ever changes. These words may never be spoken aloud, yet they are spoken in the most powerful court, the subconscious mind. And because the subconscious does not argue, it simply accepts, these words become orders it must carry out. Life will conspire to prove them true, not because they are facts, but because they were lines rehearsed too often to be ignored. To master your life, you must master your dialogue. Begin to speak to yourself as one who has already achieved what you seek. If you desire abundance, carry on inner conversations where you tell yourself, everything I touch prospers. Opportunities open for me daily. Wealth flows to me with ease. If you long for love, script dialogues where you feel adored, appreciated, and cherished. Let these conversations be so vivid and consistent that they leave no room for the old script of lack or fear. When you persist in this new dialogue, a shift occurs. The world begins to take on the shape of your rehearsals. People show up to play the roles you have written for them in silence. Events unfold in harmony with the script you have secretly practiced. It may seem mysterious, but it is only the natural law of creation. What is impressed inwardly must be expressed outwardly. You cannot escape your inner words. They are not harmless musings, they are commands. The wise learn to direct them consciously, scripting only that which they wish to live. The unwise allow random fears, doubts, and complaints to write their lives for them. But the choice is always yours. If you desire to change the stage, you must change the script. And the script is nothing more than the dialogue you carry on with yourself day after day. Speak from the end, not toward it. Declare from fulfillment, not from lack. The great mistake many make in their inner speech is to pray, affirm, or declare from a position of absence. They say, I want to be wealthy, I want to be loved, I want to be free. And though these words seem harmless, they carry within them the vibration of lack. To want something is to confess that you do not have it. To long for it is to emphasize its distance. Life simply mirrors back the state from which you speak, and so the longing is prolonged. The distance remains. To speak from the end is altogether different. It is to rise above the state of wanting and stand in the state of having. It is to declare, I am wealthy now, I am loved now, I am free now. In doing so, you impress upon the subconscious the image of fulfillment, and the subconscious, being faithful, must outpicture it in your outer world. This is not wishful thinking, it is the creative act itself. You are not asking for something to come, you are claiming that it has already arrived. Imagine an actor preparing for a role. He does not rehearse as though the character will one day exist. He becomes the character now. He speaks the lines with conviction as though he already is the one he portrays. Likewise, you must rehearse the end in your own life. If you desire health, do not speak as the sick pleading for healing, but as the healed giving thanks for vitality. If you desire success, do not speak as the struggler hoping for a break, but as the successful one living in accomplishment. When you declare from fulfillment, you place yourself at the end of the story, and life, like a faithful servant, rearranges itself to match your declaration. This principle requires trust. It demands that you close your eyes to present appearances and open your heart to unseen realities. The outer world may contradict you. Facts may scream otherwise. yet you must persist in speaking from the end. For just as a seed in the ground looks nothing like the harvest to come, so too do your declarations of fulfillment appear foolish in the face of current lack. But wait, persist. Speak only from the end, and in time the harvest must appear. Many weaken their manifestation by wavering between the two states. One moment they speak from the end, declaring it is done, and the next they revert to lack, confessing, I hope it will come. This double-mindedness delays the process, for the subconscious is impressed by consistency. To truly manifest, you must remain steadfast, speaking as the one who already lives in the reality desired. So practice daily, enter the end in imagination, feel the joy of its completion, and let your words flow from that state. Say, I am already there. It is already mine. I am already living in it. Let every thought, every whisper, every declaration come from the fulfillment itself. When you speak this way, the distance between desire and manifestation collapses. For you no longer chase what you seek, you live in it now. To speak from the end is to hold the power of creation in your hands. To declare from fulfillment is to command life itself. When you master this art, you will find that every desire yields to you. For the world has no choice but to reflect the end from which you speak. Every repeated inner statement impresses the unseen, and what is impressed will surely be expressed. Within you lies a silent power that never sleeps, a power that records every word you speak to yourself and molds your outer life accordingly. This power is impartial. It does not decide for you what is right or wrong, beneficial or harmful. It simply receives the impressions you give it, and with unbending faithfulness, it shapes your world to match them. Repetition. The key is understanding that repetition is the tool by which these impressions are carved deeply into the unseen mind. Think of water falling gently upon a stone. One drop seems harmless, incapable of leaving a mark. Yet repeated drops, over time, wear away even the hardest surface. So it is with your words. A single inner statement may pass without much effect, but when repeated, it etches itself into the depths of your subconscious, creating a groove that reality must follow. Every time you affirm, you are chiseling the pattern more deeply. Eventually, the unseen accepts it as truth, and once accepted, the outer world cannot help but reflect it. This is why persistence is more powerful than force. You need not strain or struggle to make your desire come to pass. You only need to repeat it inwardly with conviction until it feels natural. Say to yourself, I am successful. I am loved. I am free. At first, it may feel false, as though you are pretending. But with repetition, the words lose their strangeness and begin to feel familiar. The moment they feel natural, they are impressed, and what is impressed must be expressed. Most people unknowingly impress the unseen with fear, doubt, and limitation. They repeat statements like, nothing ever works out for me. I never have enough. People always disappoint me. These words, spoken over and over, settle into the subconscious as laws. Life then organizes itself to prove them right, not because such is their destiny, but because such was their decree. The tragedy is that they mistake these outer results as evidence of truth, and so they repeat the same inner statements with even greater conviction, deepening the cycle. But the same law that binds you also frees you. Just as repeated words of limitation create bondage, Repeated words of fulfillment create freedom. Begin today to choose your inner statements with care. Let your repetition be deliberate and filled with life. Whisper often to yourself, "Everything I need comes to me with ease. I am surrounded by love. Opportunities are always opening for me. My life overflows with abundance." Say it when you rise. Say it as you walk. Say it before you sleep. Let rapidity write a new script in the unseen. And do not concern yourself with when or how it will appear. That is not your task. Your work is only to impress. The unseen will handle expression with perfect timing. Trust the law. What you impress will be expressed. Repeat with faith. Persist until it feels natural, and then rest in the certainty that your world must mirror your inner decree. Every repeated inner statement is a seed, and the soil of the subconscious never fails to give harvest. Choose wisely what you plant. Repeat it until it is alive within you, and soon you will walk in the expression of what you once only whispered. Guard your inner conversations, for they are not idle. They are creative decrees shaping your tomorrow. Every word you speak within yourself is a command. Every thought you rehearse is a prophecy. You may not see its effect immediately, but make no mistake. These inner exchanges are setting in motion the very circumstances you will walk into. There is no such thing as an empty word spoken to yourself. Each carries weight, each carries life, and each is planting the future in your unseen mind. Many treat their inner talk carelessly, as though it were harmless chatter. They argue with themselves, rehearse offenses, complain about lack, and imagine worst-case scenarios. They do not realize that with every repetition, they are giving life to those very conditions. To worry is simply to rehearse failure in advance. To complain is to affirm lack as law. To dwell on fear is to summon its shadow into form. Nothing you tell yourself passes unnoticed. The subconscious records it all and faithfully reproduces it. This is why vigilance is necessary. Just as a wise guardian protects the gates of a city, so must you guard the gates of your mind. Allow no intruder in the form of negative conversation. The moment you notice yourself rehearsing defeat, stop and replace it with victory. The instant you catch yourself speaking of lack, affirm abundance instead. Do not let careless words slip by, for they are not idle. They are seeds waiting for the hour to sprout. Guarding your inner conversations does not mean living in fear of every thought. It means living consciously, choosing deliberately the words you repeat within. Decide in advance the kind of future you wish to live, and then allow only those words that align with it. If you desire health, let your inner talk be filled with the language of vitality and strength. If you desire success, let your inner voice echo achievement and opportunity. If you long for love, speak to yourself as one already cherished and deeply valued. Your words are not mere reflections of reality, they are creators of reality. The great secret is persistence. A guarded mind is not swayed by appearances. Even if the world contradicts you, you remain faithful to the conversation within. You say, "I am blessed, I am secure, I am thriving," even when outer circumstances whisper otherwise. You guard your words as a king guards his crown, for you know they carry the authority to shape what comes next. And eventually, what was once only an inner decree becomes your outer experience. Look at your life today, and you will see the conversations of yesterday. Look at your tomorrow, and you will see the conversations of today. This law never fails, so keep watch over your inner dialogue with diligence. Refuse to entertain words that diminish you. Instead, continually affirm the life you desire until it becomes the only natural way of speaking. Your inner talk is the script of your destiny, the decree of your tomorrow. Guard it with care, for it is not idle, it is creation itself. Every truth we have explored returns to one central reality. Your inner world is the cause, and your outer world is the effect. The way you talk to yourself, the words you repeat, and the conversations you guard are not mere mental activity. They are the blueprint of your future. Speak from the end, not from lack. Affirm life as you desire it, not as it currently appears. Protect the garden of your mind, for every seed whispered inwardly must bear fruit outwardly. The law is simple yet profound. What you impress within will be expressed without. So walk with confidence, knowing you are never at the mercy of circumstances. You are the writer of the script, the planter of the seed, the guardian of the word. Your destiny is not in the hands of chance, but in the dialogue you keep alive within yourself. Talk to yourself like the one who already possesses, who already is, who already lives the fulfillment. Persist until it feels natural, and life will bow to your decree. Thank you for giving your attention, your presence, and your openness to these words. May you leave here not only inspired, but transformed in the way you speak to yourself, for that change alone is enough to reshape your entire tomorrow. Thank you, and may your inner words today become the beautiful expressions of your life tomorrow. There comes a point in every life when desire stretches beyond the limits of reason. Reason whispers, "This is impossible. The facts are against you. Look at what is before your eyes." And yet within there stirs another voice, a quiet assurance that what you long for is already yours. To believe in that unseen reality, even when every sense denies it, is the secret of creation. Belief does not begin in logic. Belief begins in imagination. The senses can only testify to what has been, but imagination reveals what shall be. If you cling to reason, you will forever be bound by appearances. But if you dare to give more weight to the invisible than the visible, you step into the realm where miracles are born. How then do you believe when reason denies it? You do so by choosing to live inwardly in the state of the wish fulfilled. Close your eyes to appearances and feel the reality of your desire. Do not wait for proof. Let the feeling itself be the proof. When you inwardly accept it, it is already accomplished. Reason will argue, but there is no evidence. Nothing has changed. Yet belief is not waiting for evidence, it is creating it. Faith does not beg for permission from the senses. It commands the senses to rearrange themselves to fit the inner acceptance. Withdraw your attention from everything that contradicts your desire. To dwell on obstacles is to give them power. Instead, return again and again to the end you choose. Imagine yourself already there, healed, successful, loved, free, and let the tones of reality in that vision move through you until they feel more solid than the facts reason presents. And when doubts rise, as they surely will, persist. Each time you return to the inner vision, belief strengthens. Each time you stand firm against the tyranny of appearances, the unseen reality becomes more real. In time, what once seemed irrational, impossible, even absurd, will emerge into the world of fact, and reason itself will be forced to admit it. Imagination is the creative force that shapes all experience, yet reason insists that only what can be seen, touched, and measured is real. When you rely only on reason, you are confined to the evidence of the senses. You live bound to the past, for every fact reason points to is nothing more than yesterday's imagination crystallized. To transcend limitation, you must dare to trust imagination above reason. Imagination is not fantasy, it is reality in seed form, waiting to be accepted inwardly until it appears outwardly. The unseen reality of imagination carries a truth that is deeper than what the senses claim. For the senses can deceive, but imagination reveals what is to come. Consider for a moment how everything you now call real was once only an imagined possibility. The house you live in, the device you hold, the clothes you wear, each began in the mind of someone who refused to let reason dictate what was possible. Reason would have said, "This cannot be done, for it does not yet exist." But imagination insisted, "It is already real, I see it within me," and from that unseen vision, the outer world adjusted itself until the invisible became visible. If this is true in the world of invention, how much more so in the world of personal desire? When you are faced with circumstances that appear immovable, reason will parade the facts before you. It will point to lack, to sickness, to delay, to impossibility. Yet, in the quiet of your imagination, you can already see the end fulfilled. You can feel the health, the abundance, the success, the harmony as though it were yours this very moment. And though reason scoffs, imagination persists, whispering, "This is the truer reality." For the inner acceptance of a desire is the very cause that summons the outer rearrangement of events. The power of imagination lies not in its ability to daydream, but in its ability to convince. When you dwell in an imagined state long enough, it takes on the tones of reality. You no longer simply wish for it, you feel it to be true. At that moment, a shift occurs. What was once dismissed as fantasy becomes conviction, and conviction is creative. Conviction bends reason, bends facts, bends the very fabric of your outer world until it aligns with the inner vision. If you cling to reason alone, you will always be imprisoned by what is. But if you dare to give imagination precedence, you break the chains of circumstance. You allow yourself to move ahead of reason, ahead of fact, ahead of time. To trust imagination is to live by a higher law, the law that unseen reality precedes seen reality, that cause precedes effect, that inner vision shapes outer fact. Imagination is not secondary to reason, it is primary. To believe in it is to hold in your hands the key to transformation. For the unseen is always greater than what the senses proclaim. Faith is the ability to hold fast to an unseen reality when there is nothing in the outer world to support it. True belief does not depend on visible proof, for proof comes only after the belief has been sustained. The mind trained by reason demands evidence, but faith thrives in the absence of evidence. Faith says, "Though nothing before me testifies to it, I know it is so because I have accepted it within." That inner acceptance is the seed of every change that will one day unfold. Faith in the invisible is not blind ignorance, but the deepest form of vision. It is seeing beyond appearances into the substance of things hoped for. When you rest in faith, you are not asking the world for permission to believe. You are declaring that the unseen is already more real to you than the seen. The outer world may insist upon lack, sickness, or delay, but within, faith declares completion. wholeness, and fulfillment. The power lies not in waiting for appearances to shift, but in holding unwaveringly to the conviction that they must, for the inner state has already been assumed. To cultivate such faith, you must learn to silence the need for outer confirmation. The senses are tireless reporters of facts, but facts change, and faith is the very force that changes them. When you close your eyes and feel the reality of your desire, you are doing more than indulging in fantasy. You are planting the very cause of its manifestation. Every outer result is born of such unseen conviction. What you hold inwardly with persistence and assurance must eventually project itself outward, for the inner and outer are but reflections of each other. Faith in the invisible often feels like walking against the tide of common sense. Others may laugh at you, reason may mock you, circumstances may oppose you. Yet the one who persists in inner conviction is the one who transforms their world. It is not the majority who create new realities, but the few who are willing to trust the invisible long enough for it to solidify into form. This is why faith requires endurance. It is easy to believe when appearances agree. It is mastery to believe when they deny. Every great shift in life begins with this unseen trust. The artist envisions the masterpiece before the canvas bears a single stroke. The inventor holds the finished machine in mind before a part has been built. The healer feels the wholeness before the body shows a sign of change. Each knows that belief is not a reaction to proof, but the creator of proof. Proof is the echo of faith, the shadow of inner conviction cast upon the stage of the world. To live in the end is to occupy the state of your fulfilled desire before a single shred of evidence appears. It is to clothe yourself inwardly in the reality you long for and to carry it with such naturalness that the outer world has no choice but to bow to it. When you live in the end, you cease to ask when or how your desire will come. You no longer stand as a beggar waiting for proof. You stand as the possessor, calm and assured because within you already hold the thing you seek. Logic will always attempt to ridicule this practice. It will say, how can you act as though you already have what you do not yet see? How can you assume wealth when your bank account says otherwise, or feel love when you appear alone? But logic knows nothing of creation. Logic only deals with what has been, while imagination ushers in what is to come. If you wait for logic to approve, you will never move beyond the limitations of appearances. To create, you must dare to look foolish, to reason, and yet remain steadfast in your inner assumption. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are not pretending or deceiving yourself. You are aligning yourself with the only true cause of manifestation, the state of consciousness you occupy. Consciousness is the root of all experience. The moment you inwardly accept a state as real, life begins to mold itself in harmony with it. You may not see the immediate shift, but beneath the surface, unseen currents begin to move. Events rearrange, and circumstances bend to reflect your assumption. This is why it is not enough to wish or hope. Wishing keeps the desire in the future, hoping postpones fulfillment. Living in the end brings it into the present. It makes it real here and now. By feeling it already accomplished, you withdraw the energy from not having and invest it in already being. That shift in consciousness is the bridge across which your desire travels into visibility. Think of an actor who fully takes on a role. While performing, he does not think of himself as pretending. He lives, breathes, and moves as the character. In the same way, when you live in the end, you inhabit the role of the person who already is what they desire to be. You think from that state, feel from that state, and act from that state until it becomes natural. And once it becomes natural within, it must find its echo without. The ridicule of logic is not a signal to abandon the practice, but a confirmation that you are moving beyond the prison of appearances. Every great transformation begins with someone willing to believe against reason, to persist in assumption despite contradiction. To live in the end is to walk by inner vision, not by outer fact. It is the choice to let imagination define reality and to rest in the certainty that what is assumed as true inwardly will harden into fact outwardly. The senses are powerful servants but poor masters. They constantly bombard you with images, sounds, and facts that appear immovable. They insist that what you see and hear is the ultimate truth. Yet, if you are to create a new reality, you must learn the art of silencing the senses, of withdrawing your attention from appearances that contradict your desire. For as long as you feed the senses with belief, you bind yourself to what already is, and what already is will persist. Silencing the senses does not mean ignoring life or pretending facts do not exist. It means refusing to let facts dictate your inner state. You may see lack, but you do not accept it as final. You may hear discouraging words, but you do not allow them to settle in consciousness. You may feel delay, but you do not surrender to impatience. To silence the senses is to deny them the authority to define what is possible. You withdraw your attention from appearances and place it instead on the unseen reality of your fulfilled desire. This withdrawal of attention is not easy, for the senses scream loudly. They demand recognition, and reason joins their chorus. Yet you hold within you the power to turn away inwardly, to detach from the evidence before you, and to fasten your gaze on the inner vision. The more you do so, the weaker the hold of appearances becomes. The facts that once seemed unshakable begin to loosen their grip, and your imagination grows stronger. Consider how a dream feels real while you are in it. The sights, sounds, and emotions of the dream seem undeniable, though they exist only within. In the same way, when you quiet the outer senses and give full attention to the inner world, that unseen reality takes precedence. You begin to feel the tones of reality in your imagination more vividly than the so-called facts outside. And it is this shift of attention that changes everything. And then, in the words of this exchange, the facts are all a mistake. When appearances contradict your desire, persistence in imagination is the remedy. Each time you are tempted to believe what the senses present, withdraw. Go within. See only the outcome you choose. Hear only the words that confirm your fulfillment. Feel only the joy of possession. This is not self-deception, it is self-creation. For the senses report only what has been impressed upon them in the past, while imagination reveals what is waiting to be impressed upon them in the future. As you practice silencing the senses, you discover an inner freedom. No longer are you enslaved by the evidence of the moment. You realize that appearances are shadows, fleeting and changing, while the unseen conviction within you is the substance. By refusing to yield to contradiction, You nourish the unseen until it becomes seen. Eventually, the senses, once your greatest doubters, become the very witnesses of your faith, for they will testify to the reality you once chose to believe, despite their denial. Whatever you accept within yourself, no matter how unreasonable it may appear, becomes the seed of your outer experience. Life is not governed by appearances, but by the silent agreements you make within. The world you see is nothing more than the echo of your inner consent. If you accept limitation, it must show itself. If you accept freedom, it will appear. The outer world does not choose for you, it only mirrors what you have already accepted as true in the secret chambers of imagination. This is why inner acceptance is far more powerful than outer effort. A person may strive, plan, and labor endlessly, but if inwardly they hold the conviction of failure, their outer actions will lead them back to the same result. Another may appear to do little, but inwardly they have accepted success as their state of being, and soon life bends itself to confirm that acceptance. The difference is not in effort, but in the root from which all action springs, the inner assumption. It may seem irrational to accept something that contradicts reason and fact, yet the so-called rational world is always one step behind. Every invention, every discovery, every transformation was once irrational. To the senses it appeared impossible, but someone dared to accept it inwardly. They lived in that acceptance long enough for the outer world to bow to it. What was once mocked as foolishness became celebrated as reality, and reason was forced to rewrite its rules. To accept inwardly does not mean to strain or to force. It means to calmly rest in the feeling that what you desire is already yours. It means to let the assumption sink so deeply into your being that it feels natural. This naturalness is the key, for when you no longer try to make it happen, but simply accept it as done, you release the struggle. And when struggle ceases, creation flows. Every time you revisit your inner acceptance, you are watering the seed. You may not see growth immediately, but beneath the surface, roots are spreading. Circumstances are shifting, people are being moved, opportunities are aligning. The outer world takes time to rearrange itself, but the moment of inner acceptance is the true moment of creation. All else is simply the unfolding of what has already been decreed within. When doubts rise, as they often will, remind yourself that appearances are not final. They are only delayed reflections of past assumptions. They cannot hold power over you unless you renew your agreement with them. Withdraw your consent from what you do not want and reaffirm your acceptance of what you do want. In time, the outer will have no choice but to reflect your inner choice. So dare to accept inwardly the reality your reason mocks. Dare to rest in the conviction that what you feel to be true within must show itself without. For the law of life is simple yet profound. What you accept inwardly becomes the fact of your world. Persistence is the secret ingredient that turns imagination into fact. To see the end within once is not enough, for the senses will return to confront you with contradiction. Doubt will rise, appearances will mock, reason will argue. Yet, if you persist, if you repeatedly return to the inner vision, faith strengthens and doubt loses its hold. What once seemed impossible begins to feel natural, and what feels natural must inevitably take form. The outer world is stubborn only to those who are unsteady within. If you shift your inner vision today, but surrender to appearances tomorrow, you plant and uproot the seed again and again. No seed can grow under such treatment. But if you remain faithful, returning each day to the inner state of the wish fulfilled, You allow the seed to deepen its roots. With time, the invisible begins to push through the soil of appearances, and what was once unseen breaks forth into visibility. Persistence is not frantic effort, it is quiet consistency. It is the gentle but firm decision to keep turning back to the end you desire, no matter how many times the senses tempt you away. You may falter, you may drift into fear or worry, but persistence does not demand perfection, it demands return. Each time you return to the inner vision, you reinforce it. Each return strengthens the feeling of reality within you until it becomes unshakable. Reason is powerful, but it is not final. It draws its conclusions from appearances, and appearances are shadows of yesterday's states of mind. When you persist in the inner vision, reason must eventually bend, for it can only measure what it sees. And when what it sees changes to match your inner conviction, reason itself will stand as proof of what you once believed without evidence. This is why persistence is a true test of faith. Anyone can imagine for a moment, anyone can feel for a day, but the one who persists despite contradiction is the one who brings about transformation. It is persistence that carries you across the bridge of time, from unseen conviction to seen reality. The vision you hold within may seem distant, but each return draws it nearer until the gap disappears and you find yourself living in what you once only imagined. Think of persistence as the rhythm of creation. Just as the ocean shapes the shore, not by a single wave, but by the ceaseless return of waves, so does the inner vision shape the outer world by its steady repetition. The more faithfully you return to it, the more unshakable it becomes, until no fact, no argument, no delay can move you from it. At that point, faith has matured into certainty, and certainty is irresistible. So persist no matter what arises. Persist when reason denies. Persist when appearances mock. Persist when doubt whispers. For each return to your vision chisels away at resistance. And in the end, it is not appearances that win, but the one who persists beyond doubt until the unseen becomes the undeniable fact of life. In conclusion, the great secret is simple yet profound. What you hold within becomes the reality without. When reason denies, imagination affirms. When appearances contradict, faith sustains. To live in the end, to silence the senses, to accept inwardly what seems irrational, and to persist beyond doubt is to step into the creative power of your own consciousness. The world will eventually reflect what you dare to believe, not what reason allows you to believe. If you will faithfully choose the unseen over the seen, conviction over evidence, and persistence over contradiction, you will find that life bends to your vision, and the impossible becomes inevitable. Thank you for listening, and may you walk with courage in the unseen until what you have imagined becomes the undeniable fact of your world.